Hey there, curious minds. Today we're diving into the Nutmeg State, Connecticut. It's small but packed with history, charm, and some surprising trivia. You might think you know this place, maybe you've driven through it, or perhaps you only know it for, well, nutmegs. But trust me, there's so much more beneath the surface of this incredible New England gem. We're talking about a state that has given us some truly iconic firsts, some mind-blowing inventions, and has been home to some of the most brilliant minds in history. From world-changing documents to world-famous sandwiches, Connecticut has quietly been shaping the world around us. So let's explore 10 fun facts about Connecticut you probably didn't know. Let's do this. First up on our Connecticut adventure, and this one is for all you foodies out there, get ready for a delicious piece of history. The very first hamburger ever made in the United States traces its roots right back to Connecticut at Lewis's Lunch in New Haven. These folks claim to have served the first ever hamburger way back in the year 1900. Imagine that, over a century of burger history starting in this one unassuming spot. It wasn't some fancy gourmet creation back then, but a simple ground beef patty, cooked to perfection and served between two slices of toast. Pure, unadulterated, original goodness. And here's the kicker. They used the original antique cast iron grills from 1898 to cook their burgers. They're so committed to tradition that they famously don't offer condiments like ketchup or mustard. They believe the burger should be enjoyed as it was originally intended. So if you're ever in New Haven, you absolutely have to check it out. It's not just a meal, it's a pilgrimage for burger purists and history buffs alike. Next up, let's talk about something we all take for granted today: finding someone's phone number. The first telephone book ever published in the entire world came out in New Haven, Connecticut, back in February 1878. This pioneering little pamphlet wasn't exactly bursting with listings like the phone books many of us grew up with. It was a single sheet of cardboard, and it had just 50 names on it. No residential numbers, just businesses and offices like doctors, the police, and the New Haven District Telephone Company itself. And get this, no phone numbers were actually listed next to the names because you just tell the operator who you wanted to connect to. It's a fascinating glimpse into how far communication technology has come, and it all started with a simple list in Connecticut. Now let's shift gears from culinary firsts and communication milestones to something truly foundational, something that speaks to the very core of American identity. Connecticut holds the distinguished nickname, the Constitution State. Many historians believe that the Fundamental Orders of 1639, adopted by the Connecticut colony, were the very first written constitution in history, or at least the first in North America that established a representative government. These orders are considered by some to be the first document to truly embody the principles of a government by the people, for the people. They outlined the powers and limits of government, established a framework for representation, and didn't reference the authority of the British Crown, which was a bold move for 1639. It's argued that these fundamental orders directly influenced the development of democratic thought and, eventually, the United States Constitution itself. Let's dive into some incredible naval history. And once again, Connecticut is at the forefront of innovation. The first nuclear-powered submarine, the mighty USS Nautilus, SSN 571, was built right in Groton, Connecticut, and launched in 1954. This wasn't just another submarine. This was a game-changer, a marvel of engineering that could travel farther and stay submerged longer than any submarine before it. The USS Nautilus didn't just sit pretty. It shattered records, including the first ever submerged transit of the North Pole in 1958. And the best part, after a long and distinguished service career, this piece of incredible history wasn't just scrapped. Today, the USS Nautilus is a National Historic Landmark and serves as a museum ship in Groton. It's a tangible link to a pivotal moment in technological and military history, all waiting for you in Connecticut. Here's a fact that might surprise you, especially if you associate the Northeast with bustling metropolises. Despite its rich history and significant contributions, Connecticut doesn't have any massive, sprawling urban centers in the way some other states do. In fact, Connecticut has no major city with over 1 million people. The largest city in Connecticut is Bridgeport, and its population hovers around just 150,000 residents. Other notable cities like New Haven, Hartford, and Stamford, while culturally rich and economically important, also maintain that smaller city feel. It's all about quality, not just quantity of urban life. From pies to high fives, the Frisbee. Who here loves a good game of Frisbee? That iconic flying disc, a staple of parks, beaches, and college campuses worldwide, got its start in Connecticut. The story goes that it all began with college students tossing around the empty pie tins from the Frisbee Pie Company of Bridgeport, Connecticut. They'd shout "Frisbee" as a warning before throwing the tin. This playful pastime caught the attention of Walter Frederick Morrison, who saw the potential for a more aerodynamic plastic version. He developed the Pluto Platter, which was later bought and rebranded by the Wham-O Toy Company in 1957 as the Frisbee. And just like that, a global phenomenon was born from leftover dessert containers in Connecticut. All right, sports fans, this one's for you. If you've ever spent hours glued to your TV watching highlights, live games, or intense sports debates, you have Connecticut to thank for a major part of that experience. Because ESPN, the very first 24-hour sports television network, was launched in Bristol, Connecticut on September 7th, 1979. Can you imagine a world 24/7 sports coverage? It's hard to picture now, but back then, it was a revolutionary idea. Bill Rasmussen, his son Scott, and Ed Egan had this wild dream of an all-sports network, and they made it happen in a small Connecticut city. From those humble beginnings, ESPN grew into a global sports media empire, completely changing how we consume sports. So the next time you're cheering for your team or catching up on the latest sports news, remember that Connecticut is the birthplace of that non-stop sporting action. Now let's talk about academic prestige, because Connecticut is home to one of the most renowned institutions of higher learning in the entire world. We're talking, of course, about Yale University, located in New Haven. Yale University was founded way back in 1701 as the collegiate school. To put that into perspective, that's a full 75 years. The United States Declaration of Independence was even signed. For over 3 centuries, Yale has been educating leaders, innovators, artists, and thinkers who have gone on to shape our world in countless ways. Its stunning architecture, world-class museums, and incredible libraries make its campus a destination in itself. Let's move from the hallowed halls of academia to the fascinating world of nature, because Connecticut has a state symbol that's both elegant and a little bit fierce. The official state insect of Connecticut is none other than the European mantis, more commonly known as the praying mantis. It was designated as the state insect back in 1977. Why the praying mantis? They are incredible predators and are considered beneficial insects because they have a voracious appetite for other, often pestiferous bugs like aphids and caterpillars. So they're like tiny natural pest controllers working in gardens and fields across the state. Plus, they are just fascinating creatures to observe with their slow, deliberate movements and their ability to turn their heads almost 180 degrees. So if you spot one in Connecticut, remember you're looking at a tiny state celebrity. For our final fun fact, we journey into the world of classic American literature, because one of the most beloved authors in U.S. history penned some of his most iconic works right in Connecticut. The one and only Mark Twain, the genius behind The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, wrote these masterpieces and many others while living in Hartford, Connecticut. He and his family lived there from 1874 to 1891, a period he later described as the happiest and most productive of his life. His stunning, unique, and somewhat eccentric house in Hartford still stands today and is a National Historic Landmark. You can actually visit the Mark Twain House and Museum, walk through the rooms where he wrote, see his personal artifacts, and even peek into the billiard room where he famously did much of his writing. Connecticut provided the backdrop for the creation of characters and tales that have captivated readers for generations and continue to be celebrated worldwide. So there you have it, 10 fun facts about Connecticut. Whether it's burgers, books, or bugs, this little state is full of surprises. From pioneering inventions and foundational democratic documents, to world-class universities and the birthplace of global media giants, Connecticut has certainly packed a mighty punch throughout history. We've journeyed from the sizzle of the first hamburger to the silent depths with the USS Nautilus, from the hallowed halls of Yale to the very desk where Mark Twain spun his incredible tales. It just goes to show that you can find extraordinary stories and fascinating history in every corner of this country, even in states that might seem small on the map. If you learned something new, hit that like button. It really helps us out. And be sure to subscribe for more cool trivia and explorations of fascinating places and stories. Thanks for watching, stay curious, and we'll see you next Wednesday.